Tonight on CTV News at 6, skyrocketing oil prices. The good and bad for Albertans after the cost of a barrel goes through the roof.
The longer this occurs, the more difficult it becomes for global oil markets.
The UCP embarks on a school building blitz. Which Edmonton neighborhoods will get new institutions?
Together, these Edmonton projects will create and renovate more than 8,400 student spaces.
And
all of the major grocers have been involved in this in one form or another.
A city councillor challenges rules that have limited access to grocery stores in Edmonton neighborhoods.
Daytime highs right around the freezing mark for the next couple of days, so pretty close to average, and a couple chances for some flurries or light snow over the next few days.
CTV Edmonton, local breaking news with Jeff Hastings.
Good evening. The price of oil is up sharply in the 10 days since Iran was attacked by the U.S. and Israel. While the conflict is on the other side of the world, the impact here is significant. 20% of the world's supply moves through the Strait of Hormuz, now effectively closed to commercial ships as a result of the war. Oil prices immediately jumped on word of the conflict, rising with every day of trading, peaking well over $100 a barrel in the last day or so, now down to just under $95. The latest Alberta budget is based on an average price of just over $60 a barrel. The explosion of oil's value has spiked the price at the pumps in Edmonton. The finance minister says high gas prices are not enough to trigger tax relief for Albertans.
We did some quick math this morning. If oil were to average, say, above 110 for the last 5 days, it could trigger the lowest level of relief. So unlikely, but not impossible.
According to legislation, tax relief at the pumps has to happen at the beginning of a financial quarter. The next one starts April 1st. There isn't enough monitoring time to trigger it. The finance minister also says there's so much volatility right now, it's important to be mindful that what goes up will come down. The price volatility means farmers could be faced with increased costs to buy fertilizer, while grocery store owners are bracing for added manufacturing and transportation costs. Amanda Anderson reports.
The conflict in the Middle East and threats from Iran's military has cut off shipments through the Strait of Hormuz, a region that produces and ships massive amounts of oil, liquefied natural gas, and fertilizer.
We could anticipate seeing increased costs for fertilizer.
Fertilizer is one of our biggest input costs year to year, like every year. And so if we get say, for instance, if urea goes up 30% or in 1 year, that's a significant impact to our bottom line.
Kevin Bender has a farm near Bentley, Alberta. He says many farmers try to buy fertilizer and store it when there's a hint prices could go up.
We didn't know that this big spike was going to happen, but I'd say most years we see an increase in fertilizer prices coming into spring. So people will buy in the fall or through the winter and help minimize any cost increases that might occur.
Bender says farmers always find a way to manage, and it could mean planting crops that don't require the same fertilizer product. He also says rising diesel prices will have a minimal impact on his farm. At the Italian Centre shop in Edmonton, Teresa Spinelli is keeping a close eye on oil prices.
Last time this happened, when there was a boom in Alberta with the oil prices going over $100 a barrel, we noticed that our freight company started charging a surcharge for the extra gas, and then we also noticed that our suppliers started charging more, especially if they're production and they're using oil and gas.
Costs the shop tries not to pass on to customers. Spinelli says it could be weeks before she knows how oil prices will impact her costs. Supply chain consultant Brent Willett believes the impacts on consumers will be very small compared to what they faced during COVID.
COVID was also about scarcity, not just pricing. We're not going to have a scarcity issue. What we could have is cost impacts along those supply chains. So going forward, organizations, specifically those in Canada, are much more resilient than they were 6 years ago.
Amanda Anderson, CTV News, Edmonton.
Schools in Edmonton are bursting at the seams, with some holding lotteries for new students to enroll. The province says 10 new school projects for the city will help alleviate some of that pressure. Marian Valdez-Carletti has more on where they'll be built and how long it will take.
This fall, the doors will open at St. Carlo Acutis Catholic High School, welcoming more than 1,300 students in Castle Downs.
The need for new schools is real and urgent. Edmonton Catholic School has grown by more than 17% in the past 5 years.
The province is looking to build other schools like this, with 10 new projects in the works for Edmonton.
Together, these Edmonton projects will create and renovate more than 8,400 student spaces.
Budget 2026 includes 8 new schools and 2 replacement schools. Edmonton Public will get 1 K-6 and 3 K-9 schools. Edmonton Catholic will get 1 K-9, 1 high school, and a replacement school. The Francophone Board will get 2 new elementary schools and a replacement school.
We're also working to speed up how school projects move forward from approval to construction. Through the Schools Now program, funding can flow as construction progresses instead of waiting for future budget cycles.
9 of the school projects are currently in the planning phase, while the public K-9 school in Stillwater is now in the design phase. The Education and Childcare Minister says the school divisions determined which projects to prioritize.
They know their school division best. They know where the particular pain points are and challenging areas are.
Challenges such as Edmonton Public needing to implement a lottery process for new students to attend some of its most in-demand schools.
There's no question these new schools will help to alleviate those pressures and potentially eliminate the need for lottery types of systems.
The province says the new schools will be open within 4 to 5 years. Site selection will be decided by the boards at a later date. Miriam Valdez-Carletti, CTV News, Edmonton.
The UCP government says a long-promised passenger rail master plan is coming in the next few weeks. The transportation minister says the plan is complete and he hopes to have more to say in April. He says his goal is to include proponents for a high-speed rail line between Edmonton and Calgary to connect the two cities and their airports. The rail line has been talked about for more than a decade and could take even longer to develop. The UCP government revealed its plan to create a new Crown Corporation to oversee rail nearly 2 years ago, citing population growth and congested highways. The only school in Swan Hills is closed and classes have been moved online because of wind damage to the building's roof. Gusts were as high as 100 kilometers an hour in that area yesterday, northwest of Edmonton. The division's superintendent says roofing from the town's swimming pool blew off and damaged the school, which shares the same building. Classes will resume once a structural assessment and repairs can happen.
We have an engineer either there or on his way up there to actually assess the damage to the structure of the school. I do know that the large gymnasium sustained some damage and other parts of the roof membrane very close to the swimming pool roof also damaged.
The 200 students from kindergarten to grade 12 will attend online classes for now. In Edmonton, roads closed because of fallen trees, including this one at 107th Ave and 152nd Street. Power lines also went down. EPCOR says 8,400 homes were in the dark yesterday. Power has now been restored. Throughout Alberta, Fortis reports thousands of homes lost power. 2 men have been arrested in the death of an Edmonton man who was wanted in a violent assault. 37-year-old Jordan Belhumer died in May 2024 after being shot in North Edmonton. 2 months earlier, police had issued warrants for Belhumer's arrest in connection to an assault. Police have now charged a 29 and 25-year-old with second-degree murder in the death. The city councillor is leading the charge to allow grocery stores in more places. Most major grocers use a legal tool called a restrictive covenant to limit competition near land or stores they own. The councillor says it makes food more expensive and neighbourhoods less walkable. Jeremy Thompson reports.
There are plenty of stores and services in Griesbaugh Village, a daycare, restaurants, a drugstore, but in a complex surrounded by hundreds of new apartments, nowhere to buy groceries.
There's a lot of elderly people in the area, and to be able to have all those conveniences close by would mean a lot to them.
A Safeway is nearby at Northgate, but it's across 2 busy roads. Sobeys, which owns Safeway, once held a parcel in Griesbaugh Village. It sold the land for apartments, with the stipulation that no grocery stores can move into the complex.
Butcher shops have been told no, bakeries have been told no.
Councillor Michael Jans is trying to bring attention to the restrictive covenants grocers are using to stifle competition. He says the practice harms shoppers through higher prices and less convenience. calling them anti-democratic.
All of the major grocers have been involved in this in one form or another, and we've been meeting with them, and many of them have said they're willing to stop doing this as long as their competitors stop doing so as well.
Jans says the limitations are impacting communities across Edmonton. Sobeys did not reply to CTV's request for comment, but a spokesperson did tell Councillor Jans last month covenants are common real estate practice in all sectors in Alberta, and it's committed to contributing positively to local markets and neighborhoods. The councillor wants Alberta to follow Manitoba's lead. That province announced a crackdown on anti-competitive contracts more than a year ago.
They didn't have that much friction on this topic. Everybody kind of recognized that it's anti-competitive, and it's not one that grocery stores are eager to defend.
He'll try to convince council to send a letter to the province about it next week, but that might not be necessary. Service Alberta Minister Dale Nally tells CTV a municipal motion isn't required for us to look at this issue. Since Manitoba implemented these changes, we have been monitoring them closely to see how it could work in Alberta. The minister did not provide a timeline for changes here. Jeremy Thompson, CTV News, Edmonton.
Post-secondary students across the city are celebrating Pride Week. People marched through the halls of MacEwan University. The school's Centre for Sexual and Gender Diversity says universities host the week now instead of in June during Pride Month because not many students are in classes at that time. People say recognition matters.
It just feels really important to just be a part of it and to be out myself and to be letting folks know that we're here and that we're queer and that we're trans and that we're not going anywhere.
All 6 of Edmonton's post-secondaries are hosting events throughout the week. At the University of Alberta, the school's Firefly Institute held Pride celebrations. The Institute is an LGBTQ2S+ research and advocacy hub on campus. It says events like this help support the community.
We're doing the work. We have a lot of programs that support the community, and this year in particular, we have a lot of different events going on. We have our Alberta GSA conference. We have our Human Rights Forum happening in June. So we have tons of programming coming up to make sure that we're supporting the community as much as we can.
Mayor Andrew Knack proclaimed this week is the U of A Pride Week. Edmonton's Pride Festival is scheduled for late August. That was a fun little windstorm we had yesterday, Josh. We had the obligatory video online of the trampoline bouncing down a road.
I lost the cover for my air conditioner.
My barbecue has no cover now?
I have no, but one of my neighbors, has my air conditioner cover. Take a look outside right now. Wind gusts here in Edmonton earlier today were 20 gusting to 30, which is a far cry from the 85 to 95 kilometer per hour gusts we had in the city early yesterday. That did draw in some cooler air, though. It was 5 degrees yesterday morning, 0 in the afternoon, and we're around the freezing mark today. And for the next couple of days, +1 will go down as the official daytime high from about an hour ago. -6 is where we started the day. I think we're going to slip closer to that -10, -11 range, back to around average for a morning low tomorrow. And we may even see a little bit of light snow move through the Edmonton region before tonight is done. Not seeing any of that right now as you look at the shot from the CTV drone. Drones brought to you by Century Casinos. 3 great locations, Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile. No snow, but you can see some of those thicker clouds off on the horizon. Those have started to roll in here over the last hour or so after some sunshine earlier today. And, yeah, we do have some flurries off a long ways to the west and southwest of the city, but it looks like there's a decent chance we might see some of that mid to late this evening. I don't think we're going to wake up to a ton of snow on the ground tomorrow, but there might be a dusting out there. -11 tomorrow morning with skies clearing once again for the afternoon. So, again, partly cloudy and, again, around 0 for a daytime high. There is some cooler air coming in, though, later this week. We'll talk more about that in a couple minutes.
Thank you, Josh. Still ahead on CTV News at 6, a shifting political landscape.
But at this very moment, I think there are probably as many Albertans who say the problem isn't Ottawa, it's actually external forces.
A new poll suggests growing support for the federal Liberals in Alberta. Also, voting begins to name a new federal NDP leader. Stay with us.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
A new poll suggests Alberta's federal political landscape may be more competitive than it has been in years, with Liberal support surging in the province. But as Kevin Green reports, the results amplify the rural-urban split that shows itself across Alberta politics.
The federal Conservatives still lead in Alberta with 51% support among committed voters, but the Liberals have risen to 36%. The Abacus data poll suggests the real political battle is in Alberta's biggest cities.
In a way, it's resembling now the kind of urban divide you see in provincial politics.
In Edmonton, approval of the federal government sits at 52%, in Calgary 45%, and in other communities in Alberta 30%. In both urban centres, more people approve of the government than disapprove of it. Calgarians we asked were not surprised.
Just because things seem to be going the right direction. No other reason. And I think a lot of Trudeau's sins have been identified and perhaps corrected.
Even staunch Conservatives say they see this shift happening.
My friend and I were just talking about this morning, saying, we can't believe how much support we're hearing about for the Liberal government, but just doesn't sit well with.
The poll also finds Albertans are divided on the current course of the federal government. 41% say they approve of how the government is handling things, while 38% disapprove.
But at this very moment, I think there are probably as many Albertans who say the problem isn't Ottawa, it's actually external forces.
Carney's handling of those external threats appears to have helped his party.
Just for stability, because Carney gives you that feeling of grounded, shall we say.
Political scientists warn against reading too much into the polls.
It's way too early to say that this is going to be some kind of seismic shift in terms of, Albertan voting patterns. I'm not even sure that it'll stick to the next election.
Boyd points out this polling data applies to an election if it were called now, which isn't going to happen, especially with 3 recently called by-elections that, if the Liberals sweep them, could give them a majority in Parliament. Kevin Green, CTV News, Calgary.
It was conducted between February 20th and 25th among 1,000 Alberta adults. The margin of error is plus or minus 3.1 percentage points, 19 times out of 20. Now, as Kevin mentioned, dates are now set for 3 federal by-elections, which could have significant implications for the balance of power in Ottawa.
Governments typically only call by-elections when they expect they can win them. And so I have a sneaky suspicion that the Liberals are feeling optimistic about their prospects in Terrebonne.
And so it looks like Carney, knock on wood, for him, has a real chance to secure that majority, albeit literally by 1 seat.
Former Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland's seat is up for grabs in the Toronto riding of University Rosedale. Meantime, the Toronto riding of Scarborough Southwest was left open after former Liberal MP Bill Blair was appointed Canada's High Commissioner to the UK. And Quebec's Terrebonne riding will be a rematch between the Liberals and the Bloc Québécois. That seat decided by just a single vote, and it was later overturned by the Supreme Court. Online voting has begun in the NDP leadership race. Alberta MP Heather McPherson, union leader Rob Ashton, social worker Tennille Johnston, filmmaker Avi Lewis, and farmer Tony McQuail are all vying for the position. About 100,000 members have until March 28th to cast their vote. The winner will be announced the next day in Winnipeg. Still ahead, an artist's canvas using Alberta's scenic locations.
We're trying to do something different than just imagery, which is mountains and frozen lakes.
Art comes to life in the mountains with this Travel Alberta initiative.
Chance flurries in the Edmonton area mid to late this evening, and then again tomorrow night and Wednesday night you might see some flurries. Thursday could see a bit of snow. We'll get into all that right after the break.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
An international artist recently made some scenic Alberta destinations his canvas. As Nicole Weisberg reports, his art has already disappeared, but it has left a lasting impression.
I could barely believe it when I stepped onto the ice.
methane bubbles layered and stacked like frozen breath.
A natural phenomenon in central Alberta made even more eye-catching. For earth artist David Popa, having Abraham Lake as a canvas is a dream.
It's stunning because it's, as you know, sort of a miracle of a location. You have the clarity and the deepness of the turquoise, unbelievable fracturing, cracks, and then, of course, these methane bubbles.
Popa spent 12 days in the Nordegg area mid-January, about a year after he was first contacted by Travel Alberta about partnering.
We're trying to do something different than just imagery, which is mountains and frozen lakes.
Different and difficult. Popa is used to creating art on ice in the Baltic Sea near his home in Finland. With this piece, he says there were moments he wasn't sure he could pull it off.
It was like 0 to 3 degrees, so it was either like windy and then my chalk or charcoal would freeze on the surface, then it would warm up because of the sun.
Popa also attempting a 2-day project in a location where the wind could easily sweep away his entire first day of work. Instead,
to be able to just pull off this piece in a perfect weather window with the sunset, like this can't be happening.
Popa's second piece in the region, in Klein Creek Canyon, lasted just 1 day. He uses only natural materials. Popa returned to Abraham Lake for the third, working from sunrise to sunset at about minus 15 degrees to finish.
These are the kind of adventures I live for.
The golden color between the faces inspired and sourced from a Nordegg pigment artist whose studio Popa visited just a few days prior.
It's not only the place, but it's also the people.
Travel Alberta's Instagram post about Popa's pieces is its top video with over 4 million views, helping accomplish its goal of exposing the province's lesser-known destinations to more of the world. Nicole Weisberg, CTV News, Edmonton.
It's incredible. We have questions starting with how. How do you do that?
Oh,
just amazing. Yeah.
Like, are you flying a drone ahead of time to see the cracks?
And how can you tell what you're doing when you're working in a small? Anyway.
I have the same question about corn
Great
mazes,
pictures.
though. Take a look outside right now. And I mean, corn mazes are amazing, but that's incredible. River Valley Skycam is brought to you by Action Furnace. Fixed rider, it's free. 0 in Edmonton after hitting 1 for a daytime high today. Minus 12 in Fort McMurray, Grand Prairie, minus 3 or 2 degrees below 0 in Lloydminster and Red Deer. We're going to see temperatures pretty similar across most areas tomorrow. There is some colder air coming in, though, later in the week. We've got some snow across the south. Had some really heavy snow in through the Calgary region and off to the southwest earlier in the day today. And it looks like around St. Paul, you see that little pocket right there just north of Lloydminster. As that went through, that probably dropped 1 to 3 centimeters of snow. You've got some snow here in the Grand Prairie region. But this is what we're eyeballing for the Edmonton area, just off to the west-southwest of us, set to slide east through the evening. And so mid to late this evening, not heavy snow, but some flurries or some light snow. There may be a little dusting on the ground in and around the city when you wake up tomorrow morning. Mostly cloudy skies to start. Again, in the afternoon, we'll see the sun break through the clouds. And again, off to the west and through the foothills and mountain parks, we'll see some flurries and light snow develop and potentially some evening flurries in the Edmonton region. Wednesday evening could see a few more flurries. Thursday, that could be a couple centimeters of snow here in the Edmonton area as some colder air drops in. There's tomorrow, still not bad. There's Wednesday. Actually, a little bit warmer there Wednesday. I've got +1 in the forecast for Wednesday. Could be 2 or 3. There's your cool down that starts to take hold Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Temperatures right now, -13 in Fort McMurray, -6 in Grand Prairie. We're at the freezing mark here in Edmonton and -3 in Red Deer. So almost everybody's about a degree cooler than the daytime high for today. -11 tomorrow morning. There's your chance of some flurries through the mid to late evening hours. Wind stays light overnight tonight and for most of the day tomorrow, about 5 to 10 kilometers per hour. Mid to late afternoon, we'll get to a high of around -1. And then in the evening, could see a few more flurries push through. All right, your forecast for the next 10 days, for the next 5 days rather, has temperatures around the freezing mark tomorrow and Wednesday. There's your late day flurries tomorrow and Wednesday. Here's your snow for Thursday and back to -5 for a daytime high. Some -7s Friday, Saturday. Chance of some late day flurries on Friday with mostly cloudy skies. I think this is the best bet this week for some accumulating snow. At this point, it's still a little early to talk snowfall accumulations, but maybe 2 to 5. Further south, there's some heavy snow expected in parts of southern and western Alberta. Temperatures will start to rebound a little bit on Sunday. We're back into the -3 or -4 range. And then by next week, Big rebound. 6s and 7s in the forecast for Tuesday and Wednesday. So near average here for Tuesday, Wednesday. Your cool down for the end of the week and into the weekend. And then warmth returns by the early to middle part of next week.
Thank you, Josh. Still ahead, rallying for Iran in Edmonton.
We are here to be the voice of the people of Iran.
The impact of a conflict now in a dozen countries, and
the Canadian position has been unprincipled, it's been contradictory, and it's been incoherent.
MPs are debating Canada's shifting stance on the Iran war.
Programming brought to you by Century Casino. 3 great locations: Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile.
Coming up Tuesday on Your Morning, how to know it's time to go to the emergency room. A doctor's advice on when it's worth the wait and when you should stay home. We'll see you at 6.
Your Morning Edmonton, weekdays.
The war with Iran has now raged for 10 days. Missiles and drones flying around the Middle East, landing with destructive force in a dozen countries. Here in Edmonton, worried Iranians took to the streets. The community rallied yesterday, starting near the Kinsman Sports Centre, then walking the Walterdale Bridge. One person we spoke to says she left work to join because she felt she needed to show support. Others say they're trying to speak for those caught in the conflict.
We are here to be the voice of the people of Iran, to tell everyone, to tell the government of Canada, government of the whole world, that what we want, what the people of Iran want.
About 110,000 Canadians are registered with Global Affairs in the Middle East. More than 5,200 have now asked for help in leaving. The government has organized flights for about 300 citizens. Tehran is being pounded as a new Ayatollah is named, the son of the former supreme leader. Iran has ramped up strikes targeting Israel and the oil facilities of Gulf nations. CTV's Adrian Gobriel is at the border between Turkey and Iran, where many are trying to get out, including Canadians.
An ominous black flag blows in the wind on the Iranian side of the Kapakau border crossing, a towering symbol marking a time of mourning for Iran's late supreme leader. On the ground on the Turkish side of the border crossing, war-weary travelers make their way down this long pedestrian passage as they walk towards freedom.
Super risky, you know.
This Canadian father flew all the way from Vancouver, desperate to reunite with his wife and 2 young daughters caught in the conflict after they went to visit a sick relative in Iran.
I just need to meet them here safe, that's it.
If you're willing to wait. A team of Canadian consular officers are also on the ground, offering assistance to those making this precarious passage.
The communications are down, the internet is down, so it's very challenging for anyone inside Iran to communicate outside of the country.
This is what many are fleeing. New video today inside Tehran's Shahran oil depot, an apocalyptic scene, following a wave of U.S. and Israeli airstrikes. And confirmation that for a second time, NATO has shot down an Iranian missile as it entered Turkish airspace. This as the foreign minister for Iran's supreme leader warns of a long, painful war.
What is important for us is the end of this game. And we are ready to continue that game.
As global powers posture,
we're gonna go home, Vancouver. It's our home.
On this day, a moment of humanity, a Canadian family reunited. Relief for many, heartache for others. The tension here at this border crossing is palpable. The U.S. has raised its travel security alert due to a heightened risk of terrorism and armed conflict right here at this location. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Van Province, Turkey.
MPs are debating Canada's shifting stance on the Iran war in the House of Commons tonight. CTV's Abigail Beeman reports.
Mark Carney and Donald Trump spoke Sunday afternoon, including about the Middle East, the Prime Minister's office saying they agreed to stay in close contact. The situation in Iran high on the Prime Minister's agenda, but he isn't planning to attend a debate on it in the House of Commons tonight.
We met with the incident response group yesterday with the Prime Minister and 5 or 6 ministers.
The Defence Minister acknowledges the concern NATO could be drawn into the conflict and says Canada also watching closely the decisions by other NATO allies to assist countries in the area.
The Iranian war now, the incursion led by Israel and the United States, has a bearing on fundamental questions like ammunition supply. It also has a bearing on the situation in Ukraine. So we are cognizant of that, watching it carefully.
The Canadian position has been unprincipled, it's been contradictory, and it's been incoherent.
The Liberal government facing criticism for its evolving position, beginning with stronger support than some allies for the initial airstrikes and then calling for de-escalation.
It's hard to know what's the current position of the government.
No Liberal MPs were critical publicly today as they reconvene for the first time since the war began.
We are here to work collaboratively and quickly with the Prime Minister and the government to turn rhetoric into results.
While the opposition leader accused Carney of pandering in all directions, as he called for a different emergency debate about what Pierre Poilievre terms an emergency energy production plan.
Our allies are desperate for energy that does not come from the Middle East or Russia. High oil and gas prices present an enormous opportunity for Canada, which has the 4th biggest supply of oil in the world.
MPs gather to debate the ongoing situation tonight, while Liberals will have a chance to air their views behind closed doors at their caucus meeting Wednesday. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
At the time the defense minister was commenting on Iran, he was also announcing new spending under Ottawa's defense industry strategy. CTV's Michael Couture reports.
It's a $900 million announcement for defense innovation in Canada. The partnership with the National Research Council will help grow domestic drone and aerospace technologies.
This will allow us to develop new platforms for drone and aerospace technologies, including having a new drone innovation center, a drone innovation hub here in Ottawa at the NRC.
The federal government is also buying a new $500 million Bombardier plane. It's the same aircraft already being used by Saab and a Korean company for defense surveillance.
They're going to intentionally make their purchases in this country by design, by policy objective, and that's a huge reorientation of the way the government of Canada has worked.
It's a welcome change for the Quebec-based aerospace company, pointing out that particular model is truly Canadian-made.
Our aircraft, there's a lot of Canadian content. We have on the 6,500 over 65 suppliers in the country.
It's estimated close to 1,000 jobs are being supported by the purchase of the new Bombardier jet and 6 others ordered in December. The federal government's defense industrial strategy unveiled last month is promising to prioritize homegrown production and research as a way of keeping investment dollars and employment in this country. While it's unclear how many jobs could be created from the drone hub, there is a sense that it could spur hiring in related industries.
Working with the SMEs that we are going to be helping them so that they can grow and their production so that they can provide to defense in Canada, but also defense to our allies.
Defense industry analysts say the government's defense industry strategy is off to a good start. But some say if the Liberals want to deliver on their promise, they'll have to make a lot more of these announcements a lot more often. Mike Couture, CTV News, Ottawa.
WestJet has been fined $70,000 for violating air passenger protection regulations. It's connected to the delay and cancellation of the Calgary to Nanaimo flight last February. The Canadian Transportation Agency says WestJet failed to provide passengers with a reasonable amount of food and drink. It also didn't offer passengers hotel accommodation or transportation to and from the airport. WestJet has until April the 7th to appeal. And Canada has its first gold medal of the Milano Cortina Paralympics. Natalie Wilkie of Salmon Arm, BC, topped the podium in the women's standing biathlon. It's her second medal of the Games. It comes one day after capturing silver in the women's sprint. Wilkie now has 4 gold medals in her Paralympic career and 9 medals overall. Coming up on CTV News, marking the start of Alberta's Francophonie month.
It's something about seeing the vitality of our community is always brings tons of joy and it's rewarding.
The Franco-Albertan flag now flying at the legislature. And the wind has died down enough for our CTV drone to fly. You're looking at Patricia Lake in Griesbach. Stay with us. Checking on the markets, the Canadian dollar held steady near $73 US, 73 cents US rather. American oil was up nearly $4, closing the day at $94.77 US a barrel. Gold lost nearly $55 on the day. TSX was up 105 points, the Dow Jones up 239. Alberta NDP leader introduced a motion calling for a vote of non-confidence in the UCP government.
Be it resolved that the Legislative Assembly does not have confidence in the government due to its ongoing failure to renounce separatism, which has severely damaged relations between First Nations and the government and is incompatible with respect for treaty rights.
The opposition leader put forward the motion in the legislature today. The debate was shut down by the UCP. This comes after the Assembly of Treaty Chiefs unanimously voted non-confidence for the UCP government.
We are doing something that we will not stand for any of this talk of separation. We knew that the vote wouldn't pass. We knew what we were in for when we came to this legislature. We've seen it time and time again, the disrespect that the MLAs have for our people in those rooms.
The Chiefs say Alberta's referendum question infringes on their treaty rights and that they signed treaties with the Crown, not with Alberta. Calgarians have been asked to cut back on their water consumption again. The system will operate at reduced capacity for weeks. The repairs target critical sections of the Bears Paw South Feeder Main, a pipe that carries about 60% of Calgary's drinking water. It's the third time Calgarians are being asked to ration water in the last 2 years because of the water main.
Things like limiting showers to 3 minutes or less, only flushing when necessary, only running your dishes or laundry with full loads. And if we can overall reduce the load on the system by about 3% over the next couple weeks, that allows us to be able to have enough water to be able to ensure that the fire department can respond to calls, that there's adequate water pressure, and that we don't need to have boil water advisories.
These repairs are part of a larger project to replace the aging feeder main. The full project is estimated to cost about $439 million, with completion expected by December. The Calgary Public Library is facing criticism after a call for artists to apply to a residency program only if they use artificial intelligence in their work. Local artists are crying foul over the initiative, citing environmental and unethical concerns. CTV's Tyson Fedor reports.
Charles Akobsovich has been a graphic designer for more than 2 decades. He creates comic publications and illustrations focused around ghost towns in Alberta. But a post by the Calgary Public Library encouraging the use of AI in artistry late last month has him and others disillusioned.
That post was very disheartening, very demoralizing. It doesn't, to me, fit the mandate of what I'd expect from my public institutions.
The library is seeking a local artist who utilizes AI technology ethically. It wants someone who has used AI as a tool, collaborator, or in the creation of original work.
AI, like I said, by its definition, seeks to remove the artist completely from the art.
There are many perspectives on artificial intelligence as it relates to different disciplines, and so we're hoping to learn what this means for the creativity and art community.
It's a 10-week residency, and the artist will be compensated $50 per hour, up to a maximum of $8,000. But artists like Akobsovich says AI is an unethical way to create art, and that the money should be spent on what he calls authentic work.
Opportunity is already very slim. They're not always. We have a lot of artists, especially younger artists as well, coming up, are seeing opportunities being more and more rare.
We do have other programming that we're planning for other parts of the year to roll out.
While the library is defending the proposal, Calgary's mayor shares the concerns from the artistic community.
You don't need ChatGPT to tell you why that's a bad idea. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me why we would be going down that direction. And it was the first I learned of it this morning, but I think it's a terrible idea. It sets a bad precedent. And I'll be asking some questions of the Calgary Public Library and their board.
Tyson Fedor, CTV News, Calgary.
Still to come, one final throw.
I'm very lucky, very fortunate. I'm going to miss this.
A curling legend plays in his final championship, as he calls it, a career.
Stay with us. We've got another full night of great shows for you tonight on CTV.
The Franco-Albertan flag is now flying at the legislature. A flag-raising ceremony was held today to mark the start of Alberta's Francophonie month. Earlier this year, the province declared 2026 the year of the Francophonie. The province says more than 260,000 French-speaking people live in Alberta. Having their contributions to Alberta recognized brings the Francophone community happiness.
Well, pride is definitely the right word, but so is joy. Like something about seeing the vitality of our community is always brings tons of joy and it's rewarding. It's a really fun day and a fun event.
Events promoting Francophones will continue at communities around the province until the end of the month. Curling legend Brad Gushue is hanging up his broom. This weekend, he threw his final rock playing his last national championship in his hometown of St. John's, Newfoundland. CTV's Garrett Berry reports.
It's the end of an era in Newfoundland and Labrador. One of the province's premier athletes for more than 20 years is saying goodbye now to hometown fans who supported him through it all. The final bow for curling legend Brad Gushue. Certainly the most decorated athlete to call Newfoundland and Labrador home. 6 national championships, a world title, an Olympic gold and bronze. Arguably the greatest Canadian curler ever.
You know, I think everybody just wants to feel loved and appreciated. And certainly this week I felt the love and the appreciation from everybody here.
His swan song ended this weekend. A push for a 7th national championship fell just short of the podium. Not on top, but he got to go out on home turf because this year the Brier, the National Men's Curling Championship, was held in St. John's.
This community has been amazing for me over the course of my career, and I've had some great supporters from my family, obviously my teammates, our support staff. I'm very lucky, very fortunate. I'm going to miss this.
But he says after decades of competing, it's time to step away from the travel and grind that is professional sport and spend more time with his family. In Newfoundland and Labrador, it's going to be hard to imagine a world without Brad Gushue.
It's just been amazing. It's been amazing, and he's going to be missed, a lot.
We have just loved watching him over the years, couldn't get enough of it. I am a diehard Brad fan, and I hope to see him coaching.
Longtime teammate Mark Nichols has been by Brad Gushue's side for all of those accomplishments. There's no word yet on whether he is also putting his curling shoes away and stepping back from the competitive game. Garrett Berry, CTV News, St. John's.
What a career.
Yeah. I have nothing to add to that. Yes. No. Incredible.
Yeah, just appreciate what he's done. Congratulations, Brad.
I love that you said, yes, we should chat after this story. And what you came back with is, what a career. I assumed you had some
You're Josh Clausen. You're so good at picking up these things and running with them.
That you wanted to go with.
Oh, how about that weather?
What a forecast.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Chance of flurries later on tonight. There might be a dust that gets snow on the ground tomorrow morning. Clouds in the morning, sun breaks through those clouds in the afternoon. We get to -1 in the afternoon. A degree or 2 above 0 on Wednesday, and then some cooler air rolls in for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We'll be somewhere in the -5 to -8 range for daytime highs to close out the week. But for the next couple of days, looks pretty decent. Light wind, big change from the gusts we had yesterday.
What a forecast.
Oh, I have nothing else to add to that.
Thank you, Josh. And thank you very much for sharing your time with us. Good night.